Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment with your hosts, Joe and Ryan. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe and Ryan. I'm Joe.
I'm Ryan.
Hello!
Here we go again, dude.
Oh, yeah. Today's a good episode. So at the end, we're going to do another review of Ahsoka. So this time it's episode 3. And before that, we have some headlines and some spooky stuff. So, I'm ready to go. How you feeling, Ryan?
I'm ready, dude. Let's get into it.
Oh, sweet. Well, if you want to, just jump right in then.
Let's do it.
All right. First up, headlines.
Headlines.
Earthling Entertainment headlines.
Arlene Sorkin, the original voice of iconic Batman the Animated Series villain Harley Quinn, has died. She was 67. This comes to us from IGN. News of her death began circulating on social media earlier today. Mark Hamill, longtime voice of the Joker across multiple projects, was among those to confirm the news. This is from Mark Hamill. He tweeted, "Devastated to learn we've lost the brilliant Arlene Sorkin. Not just a wonderful talent, but a truly wonderful person. I'm grateful not only to have worked with her, but to have been her friend. Sending out my heartfelt condolences to her family and loved ones."
Ugh, that sucks. Because,
Yeah.
Mark Hamill obviously played the Joker, for anyone who doesn't know.
Right, and it's so funny, I swear, I never knew that until, it became a social media thing. I really never knew that, and
When we were kids?
I was so ashamed, because I used to watch that all the time.
That's funny. And you're such a Star Wars fan.
I had no idea it was Mark Hamill, I confess. I saw a video of him, it was years back, not that long ago, on Facebook, of him in the studio doing it, and I'm like...
Mind blown.
Yeah, mind blown. Alright, getting back into it. Sorkin found fame in Days of Our Lives in the 1980s, where she played the eccentric Calliope Jones. Ooh. She was college friends...
Calliope Jones!
What? She was college friends with Paul Dini, one of the co-creators of Batman, the animated series, who is partly inspired by her dressing as a jester for a dream sequence in Days of Our Lives. Sorkin was hired as the initial voice actor for Joker's henchwoman, and she would play Harley Quinn for decades across shows, video games, and other projects. Sorkin's portrayed Harley Quinn as a woman in love with the Joker, and more than a little unhinged herself, but also trapped in an abusive relationship. Fans noted that she could be every bit as dramatic as she was silly in the role. Harley Quinn became one of the Batman animated series' greatest contributions to the Batman canon.
It's true, because Harley Quinn didn't exist before that series.
That just occurred to me as I was reading this.
Yeah, Batman the Animated Series, Harley Quinn started there.
I didn't even know it. So she was literally inspired by a dream sequence episode of Days of Our Lives.
So Days of Our Lives is the reason why Harley Quinn exists. So Margot Robbie, in a weird way, can thank Days of Our Lives for her having a job that many years later.
That's crazy.
Who'd have thought a soap opera would, cause all this sexy cosplay for years to come?
Firmly establishing herself as a major villain in her own right, she currently has her own self-titled animated series, now in its 4th season on Max.
Great show.
It is good. Meanwhile, Lady Gaga is set to play Harley Quinn in Joker 2.
Yeah. Joker 2, and then it's a French word, but it means a disorder where you hear and hallucinate in music. So it's actually a musical. So Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are doing it. Does that blow your mind, Ryan?
A little bit. Yeah. I'm I don't even know what to say. I've never heard of this. As for Sorkin, her other contributions include writing for Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yes.
Amazing. From 1990 to 1992. She reprised the role one last time in DC Universe Online, having previously appeared in Batman Arkham Asylum.
Great games.
She will be missed.
She will be missed. So,
that's crazy. I didn't know that a lot of that stuff, but man, what a bummer though. Like that's too young, man.
67? Yeah.
That's too young.
Oh, it's totally too young. I mean, I don't know. The older I get, the more I want people to live longer. And it's like what Bob Barker I think just died, and he was 99, and he was like 6 months away from being 100. And then Betty White died at 99, and she was a few months. She was like a month away from being 100. It's like, come on, just give them that extra time.
You
Let them be able to say they've been there for a whole freaking 100 years.
you gotta hand it to Bob Barker though, as close as he could to get to 100 without going over.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
All right, well done.
yeah.
Well done. I'll give you that.
I did not. I stole that from a meme. I'm not that creative.
Oh,
Yeah.
now you ruined
Hey,
it.
I gotta tell on myself because there's gonna be if
Then,
there's
yeah, there's no credibility with any joke you ever say if you don't tell on yourself, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
fair
just
enough.
gonna go ahead and say yeah. Oh, so anyway, that was so like I said, it's and I'm kind of bummed that it didn't say in the article like how she died in a weird way. I don't know. It didn't seem like that kind of article, but I got questions. Like I wonder why. Like that's such a bummer.
Well, I mean, anyone could simply Google it, or maybe they didn't even announce it. Because the bottom line is, at that age, it's probably just you pass away in your sleep or you're old. But it would be funny if it was something completely unexpected. Like, she was found with so much cocaine and heroin in a room with 14 naked people of various genders and everyone in between out of a massive orgy in, like, I don't know, Tibet. That'd be, no? Nothing?
Oh, sorry, man. I was looking at. I'm
You were
terrible.
trying to look it up?
I'm trying to look up what happened.
Good show notes.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. And I got questions. I want to know.
Fair enough. Well, Harley Quinn, she inspired her like so much of the character, and what I really liked is when she shed the skin from the animated series and was no longer just Joker's girlfriend in that jester outfit. When they actually took her out of that and she started having the pigtails and having more of a character arc, that's really when the character blew up, which I don't remember 100%, but I think the first time I saw that was the Arkham games. I think that was the first time I saw Harley Quinn not just as the Jester. And then, of course, the new iterations with like we talked about Margot Robbie and everybody like that. They're different variations of the psychopath who is damaged but used to be a psychologist.
How was Birds of Prey? I never saw that one.
Unpopular opinion, I really liked it.
Yeah, I want to see it because I think that she got kind of a bad rap. She did a great job for that role. I loved the Suicide Squad,
The Suicide Squad, the James Gunn one,
the one with King
with
Shark.
Weasel and King
Yeah,
Shark.
yeah.
Yeah, that was great, and she was great as Harley Quinn.
She was great as yeah, she's brilliant.
Birds of Prey. So I thought it was a good film. A lot of people didn't like it, but a lot of people just don't like DC right now. But I feel like they've just chosen not to like DC. Like no one's giving anything DC a chance. They're like, we're done.
And I'm just lazy, so I don't get to really see all of these new movies. Like I really want to see Blue Beetle. It looks sweet to me.
Blue Beetle looks good. Blue Beetle looks good.
But I heard it tanked.
Well, that's the thing is like the Flash tanked, like Black Adam tanked. There hasn't been a DC movie that hasn't tanked since I have to admit but Suicide Squad
Like
tanked.
yeah, like or
But there hasn't been
like
a movie that hasn't tanked since probably the Batman with Robert Pattinson.
the Batman Begins.
No, just Batman, the Batman, Robert Pattinson.
Oh, did really good?
Yeah, that did great.
Oh, okay. I didn't mind that one. I wasn't like I thought it was cool, but like I really haven't really wanted to watch it again. I would rather watch like the Batman Begins series again before I'd watch that one personally.
Sure, you're more of a Nolan fan.
I thought that trilogy was like probably the last good thing that DC did.
Fair enough. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. So, hey, Harley Quinn, the original voice actress, she will be missed. I'm sorry, what was her name again?
Oh, it was I'm so sorry. I'm terrible. I'm terrible with names. Arlene Sorkin.
Arlene Sorkin, you will be missed.
You will be missed. Wow. That's too young. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Neurosurgeon investigating patient's mystery symptoms plucks a worm from woman's brain in Australia.
No.
This comes to us from KOIN.com. A neurosurgeon investigating a woman's mystery symptoms in Australian hospital says she plucked a wriggling worm from the patient's brain.
Oh no.
Surgeon Hari Priya Bandy was performing a biopsy through a hole in the 64-year-old patient's skull at Canberra Hospital last year when she used forceps to pull out the parasite, which measured 8 centimeters or 3 inches.
I mean, to be honest, though, it doesn't matter how big it was, right?
It was a
Oh.
living worm from a human brain.
Rough.
Like New Fear Unlocked.
Yeah, exactly. Nightmare fuel.
It continued to move with vigor. We all felt a bit sick, Bandy added of her operating team. The creature was the larva of an Australian native roundworm, not previously known to be a human parasite, named Ophidascaris robertski.
There's got to be a first for everything, right?
Dude. The worms are commonly found in carpet pythons. Bandy said her patient regained consciousness after the worm was extracted without any negative consequences. She was so grateful to have an answer for what had been causing her trouble for so very long, Bandy said.
Oh. Dude, okay, here's the thing. How do you live with yourself? Because I would constantly fear that I had worms in my brain.
You think there'd be eggs.
Yeah, and then you gotta be the guy who walks around who genuinely thinks that there might be worms in their brain, and everyone's just gonna assume you're insane, and you may be going insane, because how is that something you're not constantly, like, scratching your head, or, like, anytime you forget something, you're like, oh my god, is a worm eating part of my brain?
You're a changed person.
Oh my god.
Like, you are a completely changed person after that. Like, there is no therapy that could take that away, man.
Oh man, it's like going through war. You're shell shocked medically.
Like, oh my god, dude.
Oh shoot.
All right. The worm's eggs are commonly shed in snake droppings, which contaminate grass eaten by small animals. The life cycle continues as other snakes eat the mammals. The woman lives near a carpet python habitat and forages for native vegetation called warrigal greens to cook. While she had no direct contact with snakes, scientists hypothesize that she consumed the eggs from the vegetation or her contaminated hands.
Well, that makes you want a garden, doesn't it?
You know what I'm not doing? I'm not going to go and eat at the person's house who's like, hey, man, you know what? Well, I garnish everything with these weeds I found out back.
Well, I think it has more to do with, like, I don't know, if you're next to a python reserve, maybe pick somewhere else.
Maybe be a little more aware of your surroundings. I'm like, there's a lot of pythons around here.
I mean,
but I guess you wouldn't think about it, right?
Yeah, to be fair, that's just one of those things that would happen.
If I pick oh god, like I said, New Fear Unlocked. Like, wash your vegetables for God's sake. Oh my god, that's so gross. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, you just be hallucinating. You'd be like, they're behind my eyes. They're in my brain. And then it's like, I don't remember. It might have been Night of the Creeps, but there is a zombie movie where worms get in the brain, and that's what starts the zombie apocalypse. So all I'm saying,
oh my god, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, this could be the first episode of The Last of Us. Is all I'm saying. This woman's patient one and brain worming.
Like, let's not. We're dealing with enough, okay? We don't need snake poop brainworms added to the list, okay?
First COVID, now snake poop brainworms.
Snake poop brainworms, like, god damn it, Linda. What's her name? Hold on, what's this lady's name? God damn it, lady. Doesn't say her name.
I don't know, but she's Australian. She is 64 years old. She should know better not to eat snake poop.
Well, she is from Australia.
As far as I know, that is not a native delicacy.
Let's throw another shrimp on the barbie. Let's throw another worm on the barbie. Like, hey, you got some worms in your brain there, mate. Like, yeah. Call that a worm. This is a worm.
But dude, I would always refer back to it. No matter what happened to you, you could just be like, well, it's not as bad as the time there's a worm in my brain.
Like, I'm not talking shit on Australians. I'm not. I love it. Honestly, I think Australians are awesome. But
that would be a weird prejudice,
right? I'm saying that Australia just seems determined to kill
With
everybody.
bugs and
Everybody
snakes.
who's there.
The
Like,
most venomous things are there.
But I have a very American outlook. I've not been there, but I heard it depends on where you are. The same as everywhere, of course. Like certain places are freaking desert there.
Well, I think you're just not used to certain things, right? Like if you don't grow up there, if you're not from there, then yeah, there's a lot of things. Like there are camel spiders in the Middle East, which I hear are ridiculous, giant jumping spiders. But I've never seen them, and honestly, I've never looked into it. That could be a joke. That could be a joke my military friends have played on me. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think no matter where you go, it's just freaky. The bugs, the creatures that you're not used to is just,
But Australia is just seems like just everything's out to kill you. You go in the water, there's great whites. Like there's great whites out there. Like you go into the desert, like there's no water, so you got desert parts there, and then you go like where it's like foresty, and then like all the animals there, like even the kangaroos will drown you. Like
what?
Yes, they say kangaroos will drown you. It's one of their main things.
What are you talking about? There is no way. I'm imagining this like Kangaroo Jack just holding somebody's head down. Just like, you son of a bitch.
I heard it's yes. I hear it's a tactic.
That can't be right.
I've read it.
Dude, where have you read that?
On the internet.
Well, the internet. God knows the internet is true.
And there's never anything false on the internet.
Oh my God.
So,
well. I guess you're right, because even when you're just foraging for foods, next thing you know, you have worms in your brain.
Next thing you know, in Australia.
Yeah, in Australia.
Moving on. Shout out to our Australian listeners, which we have 0 of until now. But who knows?
Who knows?
I'll tag you. Netflix kills DVDs and makes surprising offer to old school members.
All right, this is the entertainment part of Earthling Entertainment.
Well, yeah, it's in the name. All right, that was on purpose.
Aha.
Netflix is winding down its shipment of little red envelopes containing DVDs.
End of an era.
Mailing the final batch on September 29th.
Oh, yeah.
After 25 years of sending subscribers DVD by mail. Excuse me. Sorry. Following decades of those shipments, the streaming behemoth announced what people can do with DVDs they never returned.
Shove them right up your...
Keep them free of charge.
Ooh.
I mean, it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, what else are they going to do with them?
Yeah, that's fair.
We are not charging for any unreturned discs after 9/29. Please enjoy your final shipments for as long as you like. DVD Netflix posted to X, aka Twitter, account Monday. By the way, this comes from DVD Netflix. By the way, a happy clarification in response to all the news headlines out there. We are not charging for any unreturned discs after September 29th. Please enjoy your final shipments for as long as you like.
Hooray.
Yeah, and they shared if you're a DVD X Netflix subscriber, you can enter for a chance to get up for 10 extra discs shipped to you by the final day of service. You just have to visit dvd.com/finale surprise. Oh, that's a great name.
Finale surprise.
Finale surprise.
It's like a happy ending.
It certainly does sound like a happy ending, Joe.
Oh my God.
Finale surprise.
You paid for these discs so long. How about you have a finale surprise?
Here's your DVD.
Here's 10 DVDs. Ooh.
To opt in, it's not a guarantee, but still worth giving it a shot.
Hey, I always try to give it a shot for a happy finale.
Skeet. Sorry. And it says awesome. That is indeed awesome. All right, there's more to the article. Sending DVDs directly to people's homes helped land Netflix on the map years ago as consumers moved away from brick and mortar stores such as Blockbuster.
I'll always love you.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I worked at Blockbuster.
You did?
I did. I'm happy to say. Now, it was at the end of Blockbuster. Like, they closed within 6 months after me quitting, but I was there.
To pick up their movie or TV show selections in the early 2000s. They were great times. Those iconic red envelopes changed the way people watch shows and movies at home,
It's
and
true.
they paved the way for the shift to streaming. From the beginning, our members loved the choice and control that direct to consumer entertainment offered. The wide variety of titles and ability to binge watch entire series, Netflix said in a press release back in April. Netflix DVD enthusiasts, which is totally Joe,
Yay!
will have a final promotional offer before the shipment program officially ends.
And that's the one you already read, where they could sign up for the 10 free
Yep,
DVDs.
yep, the finale surprise.
The finale surprise.
Skate, skate.
Yep,
Allowing subscribers to apply for up to 10 free and random DVDs to be mailed to their homes, according to DVD Netflix X account, aka Twitter account.
Twitter.
I'm just saying to me it's confusing. So
It's confusing. It's confusing to everyone.
So I'm gonna say both for a while until everybody gets it, I guess.
Yeah.
If it sticks. Anyways, to everyone who ever added a DVD to their queue or waited by the mailbox for a red envelope to arrive, thank you.
Well, that's
wow.
nice.
Yeah, and may I say this? My favorite story of the Netflix saga is the fact that they tried to sell to Blockbuster.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
Yeah. But it probably wouldn't have been the same.
I mean, probably not. Blockbuster made poor choices, which is why it doesn't exist anymore.
So,
but I want to say that Netflix, this is a cool promotion. This is a very cool promotion. But Netflix is not a fan. I'm not a fan because Netflix is one of the big holdouts right now. They're one of the reasons why the actors and the writers are still on strike. So, long story short, everything on the internet was known as new media, and there was agreements with new media, and since then it has erupted to become streaming, and now it's where everyone's watching TV. But the original agreements of things like royalties and a bunch of other stuff I'm not going to unpack right now, but the point is the negotiations are up, and Netflix is one of the holdouts of just not giving in. They want the actors to pay to not get paid. They want the writers to not get paid. They don't want to pay residuals. They want to scan actors who are extras so they can duplicate their bodies and only pay them for one day of work when they use them throughout the entire show. They want to get AI to write scripts and then hire a good writer to do touch-ups on those scripts, paying them 1/10, if they're lucky, of what they normally would make. And not even have to credit the writer. There is so much wrong with how the business is right now, and Netflix being one of the major problems and holdouts of this strike. I personally hope that everyone who listens will cancel their Netflix account. No one will. So, I just wanted to say my little piece. We can move on now, but it's important that people know.
I would if I didn't have my kids that loved it. But I get it. I'm in total support of the strike, and it's a shame. This is what happens when you see it being more of a business as opposed to like worrying about the art, and you know what I mean. This is supposed to be art. You know what I mean. And there's so many great actors, actresses, writers, everybody out there who deserve to live a
a decent living.
Yeah, I was going to say,
one of the biggest problems is people think that everyone works in the film industry has money. That's not true. Most people don't have mansions. Most people are renting apartments or just living their life, or it's a job. It's a job. It's a gig-based job. That's another thing. You have to constantly be looking for work. And it's just to have these people who dedicate their life and give up their time, and it breaks down your body to work 12 hours, 14-hour days, because that's how long it takes. Anyone who's worked on set knows that some days you have ridiculous hours, and they work their butt off, and to not even be able to pay their rent is just ridiculous.
No, and yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures of actors sharing their residuals or whatever it is. I'm kind of talking out of my butt. I don't know as much as you do about the industry. Of course, you're a writer. You're more involved than I am. But yeah, it's crazy when you realize that. But yeah, because you think that, and that's why you see everybody like doing weird brands and stuff like that, because like that's the only way they can make money. That's why you see them on commercials. Like you'll see like guys being like, why are they doing commercials?
Yeah. Don't make fun of an actor for doing Cameo, man. That's a quick $200 where all they have to do is record a video on their phone.
Yep.
And sometimes That's what you need. I had a not awesome apartment and it was rent controlled. And it was still like $1,500 a month. Do you know what I mean? Like it is very, very expensive to live in LA.
And that wasn't a big place. I visited you, but it was cozy. It
Hey,
was cozy.
you know what? I'll take down the middle. For my group of people, I was right in the middle with housing, so I'll take it.
No, and I'm so glad that we got to be in LA and you got to kind of show me around, Hollywood basically.
Hollywood.
And that was 2019 Halloween. We were in
yeah.
That was so
that was
cool.
the bachelor party, my bachelor party.
Yes, it was. It was a great time, and it was really cool to get to see that before kind of, let's face it, all hell broke loose after 2020.
Well, yeah, COVID. When the industry shut down, I mean, obviously, like no tourism. That's just a huge problem because Hollywood was a tourist place. So,
Yeah.
it was a weird time. It was a weird time. But anyways, I just wanted to say my piece about Netflix. I still think that this is an awesome offer, and anyone who still gets discs from Netflix should totally get their free DVDs.
I'll admit, I stream Disney Plus now instead of just, like, all I'm binge watching is just Star Wars anymore. But I'm not gonna get into that right now.
We'll get into that later.
I think it's time
Ahsoka
for
review.
spooky stuff.
Is it time for spooky stuff?
Yes.
Spooky stuff.
Spooky stuff. The Baltic Sea Anomaly.
Dun 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 dun.
In 2011, a Swedish diving team discovered a mysterious formation on the bottom of the Baltic Sea. People suggested that it looks like an alien spacecraft. I know what it is. It's the Ebon Hawk from Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Spoiler.
Anyways, sonar imagery appeared to show a strange disc-like object 60 meters in diameter with the unusual characteristics that include a long runway running up to it, a stairway at the side, and a light soot covering.
Yeah, a covering of soot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I did it. Explanations for the object have included everything from a crashed UFO to a naturally occurring geological formation. It has been likened to the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. Oh, look at that. They're a step ahead of me. But
to be fair, it doesn't look like the Millennium Falcon.
It does not at all.
It looks like the Ebon what?
It looks like the Ebon Hawk.
The Ebon Hawk.
Dude, that game was so good. From Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, Ebon Hawk was in both games.
Okay, so this is new to me, but like apparently it does look exactly like it. Like I saw pictures of this undersea anomaly, and it looks interesting. And then they showed me pictures of the Ebon Hawk, and it seriously looks exact. So much so that I kind of feel like this has got to be a hoax.
It's weird, yeah.
Because the game came out first, right?
Correct. The game it was like the 2001 Game of the Year.
Okay, and this was 2011.
Correct.
Okay, so maybe there's just a really, really rich Star Wars fan out there who's just like, I'm gonna fuck with people.
Bruh, and he just spun the globe and was like, right there.
He's like, someone will find it, and when they do, they will believe Star Wars is real. Because it is a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
And now this guy is like, fuck, where I landed, it's 60 meters down. Well, no ocean too deep, no budget too steep. What's that? It's him, James Cameron.
Da, 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 da. Well, little submersibles going down to see things that James Cameron likes could be dangerous.
That's right. Are you guys hearing the music okay up there? We gotta raise the bar.
Raise the bar. No, but it is weird because we do have a picture of the undersea anomaly.
Correct, and it's I believe the picture is real. But I agree but like 60 meters down, how are you gonna? That's crazy. What if I'm surprised they didn't mention. Oh, there's one last line in this article.
Sure.
Not much else is known about the object, though it is purported that it could be as much as 140,000 years old.
Hold on. Who reported that, and what are you basing that off of?
This comes to us from
It doesn't come to us from anything. I wrote the show notes.
Oh, okay, you're good. No, but I know I've seen this. I've seen this art. I've seen this picture. So
Yeah, no, it's been around the internet since,
right,
well, 2011.
and yeah, so that's what I was gonna suggest is, what if it was just like at a point where wherever that was, there was no sea, and maybe that was like an ancient structure, not like a ship, but like yeah, it looks like the Ebon Hawk from above. But what if it was just like a crazy cathedral or some shit that they made back, some ruins basically of an ancient time? If it's 140,000 years old, maybe that part wasn't covered in water. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
mean, that's exactly what it could be because places like Japan and India, they found sunken cities and ruins of just when the coastline was different.
Right.
And they actually proposed, there's this wild theory that the Mediterranean Sea once wasn't a sea and was actually land. And there would have been the initial place of the Garden of Eden if it existed
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was between the rivers, which apparently it's between three rivers supposedly, and two of them don't exist anymore. I don't know. This is his whole big theory. But the point is, if it's old in ruins, I would buy that 100%. But I do have another theory for you.
Yeah.
All right, so check this out.
Let's hear it.
What if it is an alien spacecraft? Like a straight up alien spacecraft. And here's another thought. What if we found it way earlier? What if we found it in like the 80s or the 70s and the government, to hide the fact it was an alien spacecraft, decided to put it in this game in order so when anyone saw it, they would immediately be like, that's from the game. This is a hoax.
It was Game of the Year.
I'm just saying, think about like how perfect that would be for misinformation. Be like, oh, that's not an alien spacecraft. Oh, look, you could look it up online. It's this one spaceship.
And let's face it, the people who are in charge of this are old men who should have retired long ago. So they are, so they're like, here, what are the kids into? Star Wars.
The Star Wars.
The Star
It's a
Wars.
good- It's a good thing that movie came out in the 70s and we
What's
wouldn't
the
even
new-
know about it.
What's the new thing? Sir, there's a new video game, Knights of the Old Republic. He's like, here's the ship.
Yes, use the ship. I like it. It's old like us. Old Republic.
Yes, and then while that was happening, they were resurrecting Ronald Reagan from the dead.
Well, see, now we're getting into like Wet Hot American Summer 10 years later, which quite frankly is when they jumped the shark. But in any case, that is just my theory. I'm just saying.
But no, either way, the image is cool. I believe the image is real. It, like I said, it looks to me like it could be a structure. It also looks to me like it could be a spaceship. It also, obviously, as previously stated, looks like the Ebon Hawk. I don't know what to think of it entirely. I think that the truth is somewhere in between the lines. The logical explanation for me is that's an ancient structure.
Okay, I could see that. But I mean, it's funny that you say the lines because that's the thing. You know, nature works in curves, does not work in straight lines. And there are straight lines on that ship. So it is not a natural phenomenon in my mind because everything that I have known,
Oh no, yeah.
everything I know about like how that works is that, straight lines are man-made. That is a planned thing. That doesn't happen.
Yes, and I do not
I
believe
kind of
that.
lost. I'm sorry.
No,
I
you
got
didn't
distracted because I didn't know what you were doing. You were cracking your knuckles.
I cracked my knuckles and I realized that's rude to do on the air. Sorry.
That's all
No,
right.
I just did it as a habit. But no, I do not. Yeah, there is one thing I don't believe. I do not believe that is natural at
No,
all.
no.
There's no. I believe it's real, and
So you're going structure.
it's most likely a structure, but it also totally looks like a spaceship. But I'm leaning structure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a spaceship, but I say it's definitely intelligently made. That's what I say.
Yes. All right. Are you ready for the next one?
Am I ever?
Honestly, I like this subject. Like when I was a kid, I was obsessed.
All right.
Inside the largest Loch Ness monster hunt in decades. This comes to us from NBCnews.com. This was August 28th, 2023. The legend of the Loch Ness monster has fascinated generations of curious minds. This weekend, 90 years after its first modern supposed sighting, enthusiasts descended again on this picturesque lake to a quiet corner of the Scottish Highlands in hopes of turning myth into reality. Organizers billed the past weekend as the largest organized Nessie hunt for 50 years.
See, that's really cool. The biggest Nessie hunt in 50 years.
Whew. I like I said, I'm a believer. The hunters came armed with high-tech help, sonars for mapping the lake bed, thermal imaging drones for scanning the surface, and hydrophones to hear strange sounds from the depths. The events were even open to the global public. Hundreds were invited to a live stream of the water's surface to add more eyes to the search.
Which makes perfect sense, right? Like, why not get the public looking too?
Right.
Every
Yeah,
monitor has eyes. It's perfect.
that's perfect. But even with all the machines and added manpower, the gathering at Loch Ness was as much about reviving old lore as settling hard science.
You all right there?
Yeah, sorry, I stumbled on that. Organizers said they planned the weekend to excite interest in the legend among a new generation of Nessie hunters.
Makes sense. Get them while they're young.
The focus of the 2-day event was at the Loch Ness Center, which organized the proceedings in partnership with Loch Ness Exploration, a voluntary research team.
Awesome.
The recently renovated center is housed in a former hotel where Aldi McKay, a hotel employee, sighted a beast or whale-like fish in 1933, the first modern sighting of the monster that set off the global phenomenon.
Yes.
However,
well, 1933. Yeah, that was the photo, the black and white photo, right?
Yeah.
That's what I believe. And then
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
However, the legend dates back to the writings from the 7th century, in which an Irish monk reported having encountered a water beast that had mauled a swimmer.
rough.
Alistair Matheson, the skipper of the Loch Ness Center's deep scan search boat that trolled the lake, volunteer searchers like Alba showed how the boat's sonar technology had recently spotted a perfect outline of a huge Nessie-shaped monster, but the shape on the Matheson's radar turned out to be a sunken Nessie model that had been made for a movie about the monster and then abandoned at the bottom of the lake. Now that's just a dick move.
Like, why would
Like,
you leave
how
that
are
there?
you gonna just leave that? Like, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, like, I'm just gonna put these Bigfoot prints here. We're done with them.
Right. Like, yeah, we're just gonna leave this at the bottom of this freaking insane. Like, isn't like Loch Ness just like insanely deep?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's okay. Quote: I'm 90% convinced she exists. I've never had a sighting or an observation, but if you immerse yourself in the evidence, you have over 1,000 good sightings that are very consistent. This comes from Ken Gerhard, a cryptozoologist.
Ooh.
Like, does he study the habitat of Dogecoin? I don't understand.
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, you do.
Unfortunately, the attendees that were expecting this weekend to yield a revelation went home disappointed. No monster was found yet.
Dun dun dun. So,
I don't know. Like I'm leaning towards did she die? Like
what, the Loch Ness monster?
yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, no matter what it is, it probably didn't live hundreds of years. So, it's either having kids, doesn't exist, or I like this theory. So, apparently, there's a lot of really like crystal granite in the lake bed, and the lake bed comes down in this cliff, and it's really deep. And something about crystal resonance. There's this theory that when it resonates at a certain sound or whatever, which is somehow due to the water and the cliffs being in a certain shape, that there might actually be a portal that is appearing into our past. So it can be like an old dinosaur or something like that. Now, is that portal just floating there, and are we looking into it and seeing like an image of the lake in the past, or is it something that the creature could pass through? See, that's the weird thing of this theory, is it's saying that the reason why we haven't actually had any physical proof of Nessie is that it's kind of like a shimmer of hot, the heat over sidewalk, how it has that weird mirage thing. It's kind of like that, except we are looking literally into the past. And I really, really liked that theory. And honestly, if I was a good podcaster, I would have done more scientific research so I can give you the better quote. But that's essentially it. The crystal resonance of the side of the lake.
Here at Earthling Entertainment, we've spared no expense on the information provided.
I have a kid. You have a kid. We're doing our best.
We're doing well.
Yes.
All right. Anyways, I put Loch Ness in the same category as Bigfoot. Either the government is picked them all up by now, or they've died out by now. That's how I honestly feel about both. I believe it in both that they did exist, but I'm just saying it's been so long. And now
But it hasn't been that long. There's still recent There's still sightings of Nessie.
But now we've got people coming out with all this technology. We've got like the most we should have seen this thing if it was there. I feel like maybe they've just been rounded up by the government or something. Just the same as they round up downed UFOs, as they rounded up.
That'd be funny though. Could you
Bigfoot.
imagine like going to the cryptozoologist zoo? Like it's like here's Bigfoot, here's Nessie. What would the government do with him? Like in your theory, they're rounding him up. Why? Why are they doing that? I want there to be a war. No, I don't. Let me be clear. But if there was, to have the U.S. government dropping off fucking monsters, like, all right, Bigfoot, you get in there. You do that. Storm that cave.
Send in the mammoth. We're bringing back the mammoth.
Exactly.
We really are. We really are.
I know we're bringing back the
Hell
mammoth.
yeah.
That's fine. We're just living the life of Jurassic Park is okay with me.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too.
I mean, honestly,
It's our fault they died.
I don't want the mammoth.
Yes.
I mean, I think it was the changing of temperatures. I don't think humans hunt mammoths all the way to extinction.
I disagree. I think that we were a bunch of jerks, and we were basically just just killing them off the same way we killed off the buffalo and shit.
There was a lot less humans back then, though.
Yeah, but we're talking about a huge, slow-moving beast that had a lot of meat and a lot of hair. Like, they all lived off of everything that they provided. And we kind of effed up, and we overdid it, and that's the fact. We killed them into extinction.
I just don't think that's the case. I think it was the Ice Age being over, personally, because they were woolly mammoths to keep warm during the Ice Age.
We're going to have to do next week.
Mammoth battle!
Dude, next week. Let's do some... I would love to do a little... let's see
what you want to do a deep dive on mammoths?
I would like to, actually.
Okay.
Let's do it. All right, but anyway, so let's jump back
to All right,
to
you
Nessie.
Guys, hold on, no, but real quick, you guys heard it here. Next week on Earthling Entertainment, Mammoth Talk.
Dude, that's right. Dude, I'm all about it. But anyways, like I said, we'll talk about it next week. Let's get back to Loch Ness Monster. Funny complete side note, when I was in elementary school, you have to do like the science fair shit. I did mine on the Loch Ness Monster once.
Oh, yeah?
I was obsessed.
Well, see, is that science, though? Did they pass you?
They let me do it.
Oh, yeah.
They let me
it's
do
grade
it.
school.
Like, yeah. Who cares, right? It was elementary school. I think I was in 5th grade.
He actually did some fucking work. Let him have it.
Right, but no, and that's what I relate to this because, like, I truly, like I said, but now at this point, like I said, especially after something like this, if they truly had all that stuff, they truly had all this crazy technology, it's like, man, we've got civilians here with this technology that couldn't find it with, like, pretty much what, the government would have had, like, many decades ago. I'm sure that it's not as up to date, it's not exactly what they got, but...
I don't know, man. It's the biggest one in 50 years. You know what that means? Think about it. When you're out there and you're driving in your speedboat and you're trying to fish, you scare away the fish. If there's that much commotion on the lake, hypothetically, if there was an underground water cave or something that it sleeps in, wouldn't you hide out and be like, oh, no, hell no, there's like 50 freaking boats out there.
Yeah, I like that he got a southern voice.
Oh,
hell
no. I ain't messing with damn humans.
It's in Scotland, so, like, I can't do a Scottish voice. Like, fuck these fucking tourists trying to get a picture of me Willie. Like, that would be funny. That one famous picture was me Willie.
Actually, there was a literal theory that the Loch Ness Monster was a whale penis. I am not messing with you.
I think I did hear that.
If you Google a picture of a whale penis, which, I'm not necessarily suggesting you do, but if you Google it, it kind of looks like it could be the head of the Loch Ness Monster coming out of the water.
So now maybe Nessie ain't coming out because she's offended.
Yeah.
Like, you think I look like a dick?
I've been called a dick a lot in my life, and it has never stopped me from leaving the house.
But not that you look like a dick. There's a difference between saying, man, you're a dick. Like, if I was like, you straight up look like a penis. Like an
actual penis. Like the lower half of your body looks strangely round and two The point is,
And that's what we've all been saying about Nessie all these years, that she looks like a whale dick. Like, no wonder. Like, how mean. Dude, we should be ashamed.
we should be ashamed, but honestly, I feel like it could be like a rom-com movie where Nessie finds another person. He's like, "You don't look like a whale penis. Get out there, girl."
Dude, there's a movie in this somewhere.
It was, yeah, but where are we going? Are we going Pixar? Because
No,
I want it to
we're
be
going-
overly wholesome with just innuendos.
No, I want to go like Super Troopers kind of
You want
kind
this
of silliness.
like Sausage Party? We're just saying it.
Like, dude, well, yeah, so yeah, we'll just come out and say, like, yeah, that photo totally was a whale penis, blah, 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 and Nessie found out and has been hiding, and we got to do this, like, yeah, big bringing up and everything, and somehow we got to involve Shrek. I don't know
What?
how.
Why?
Because he's Scottish.
Is he? I
He's
feel
got
like
he's got, like, the weird...
He does have the accent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing that point, but I will say that he is in the magical land of Far, Far Away, where I'm not sure we divide
Oh, you're right.
in the same.
Yeah, it's a different universe.
It is. It is. So
Yeah.
maybe he's just, ogre-ish.
We can work on it. Yeah, we'll do, like, a spoof. We'll do, like, a bad ripoff, like, from the Chip and Dale movie. We'll do, like, a bad ripoff spoofer of him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude, we'll have to discuss that movie at another time, because I love that movie.
Oh what? Chip and Dale.
Rescue Rangers.
Yeah. That was
Oh, dude.
amazing.
That movie was...
Of course it was, because Lonely Island was behind it.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
This is a tale about Captain Jack Sparrow.
That is, of course, Michael Bolton, who did a song with them, if you didn't know. All right, you know what? I love Nessie, but you know what else I love? Star Wars.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka, Episode 3. Here we go, guys. This is the part of the show where we're going to do a little bit of a spoiler review. If you have not seen the third episode of Ahsoka, we suggest you don't listen to this. And,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, unless you don't care, because if you don't care, we don't care, and we want you to listen to it, so please listen.
Because if you don't care, then we don't care. Yeah.
Please listen.
Sorry, a little bit of Limp Bizkit there. All right. So, the Ahsoka episode, Joe, I would like you to start off.
All right, so... First of all, I love David Tennant as this robot. And there was the one scene in particular that I would like to say in this episode where Sabine is practicing with a lightsaber, and it seems as though that the robot, could you tell me his name again real quick?
It was, oh my gosh, why am I, Hu Yang.
Hu Yang. So he's training her with basically invisible sparring lightsabers, and she's trying to do it, and he just keeps going on and on about how, like, wow, you are just really bad. Like, the temple would never have accepted you. I have trained so many Jedi, and my God, you are just awful.
He
He doesn't lay it on that thing,
I love the droids of Star Wars with all my heart.
But what I liked about this is it brought back to the last episode. I asked, did Sabine ever have any force sensitivity? And I didn't remember that she did. And I was really confused how now Sabine was suddenly, in the show, it was in the past, but suddenly she was revealed to be Ahsoka's apprentice. Why? Why is that? And then this episode, they threw something at me that really worked. And that was, the robot said, like, the temple wouldn't accept her. And, she's like, well, basically Ahsoka is saying, I'm not a Jedi. And he's like, well, you come from a unconventional line. It makes sense, talking about how her master was Darth Vader. She never completed her Jedi training. She is not a Jedi. She is not training, Sabine to be a Jedi.
Correct.
She's training Sabine to be the best warrior and perhaps using some Jedi lessons in there. Like you pointed out how she didn't scold her for showing anger.
Right. She was like, that's because she knows that's perfectly normal. And there's, there's a difference between the teaching, like you said. And I love that. And I like that you could see she is trying to unlock the force within her. She said, start small. Literally said, reach for the cup.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Well, it's that whole idea that every living thing in some way can touch the force. That doesn't mean you're force sensitive, but it's intuition. It's that feeling in your gut of just knowing something is there or happening.
And I like that, yeah, she's just teaching her just flat out simple. The force is within us all.
Yeah. And I'm sure it'll end up where Sabine will probably unlock some actual force ability.
That'll be the big reveal.
I'd be a kick-ass Jedi, and all of what we're saying means nothing. But the idea of just... Essentially right now, for those who are not familiar with the expanded universe, because I don't believe it has ever been talked about in canon, except maybe some of the novels, is Ahsoka right now is essentially a gray Jedi. And that is the middle ground, otherwise known as a way seeker. In some of the new books, which were the High Republic, which I'm not sure if they talked about way seekers in any other Star Wars thing, but in the High Republic was the first time I heard of them. And a way seeker is someone who could leave the teachings of the Jedi, follow their own path of truth and enlightenment, while still somehow being under the Jedi umbrella.
Yeah, and her white lightsabers are because she purified two red crystals.
Yeah, from one of the Inquisitors, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so and that goes along with she's neither Jedi nor Sith.
She walks the middle ground.
Well, and I mean that's what I think makes her so relatable in in all these episodes too. And like you see, like when they were in the cockpit and Hu Yang was like, the way you two are acting, we're all gonna die. And so she in so many times that we see that even Ahsoka still needs a reminder. Like, don't we all? Like in the heat of the moment, like she's basically trying to raise a kid here. And so she feels like with Sabine. Like,
well, that's definitely how she feels. I think at this point, because Sabine was in Rebels, which, I mean, how long was the actual original trilogy? Like, was it actually from A New Hope to Jedi? Was it like 6 years? Like, how long was it?
I thought it was 8.
Okay, hypothetically, let's go 8 years. So if Sabine was in her early 20s in Rebels, and then you say 8 years, so that means Sabine's what, in her at youngest early 20s, but probably
20s.
mid 30s, maybe early 30s.
I'd say late 20s.
Because was she supposed to be like 17 in Rebels?
I think they all were pretty young, but I mean, like, because she grew up, right, like, where she, like, had to fight. So, like, she enlisted pretty quick.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Is what I thought. I don't know, I could be wrong, but...
I mean, in a sense, she is raising the kid, because Hera was the one who essentially was the family, who
literally raised these
literally raised Sabine, right? But Ahsoka didn't show up until, I believe it was season 2 of Rebels, in Sabine's life, is what I mean to say. Right. And around then, I'd say early 20s, right? So she's dealt with this girl for like 10 years, probably.
And we all know that Kanan wasn't even that old.
Well, Kanan was, God, I think Kanan had to be in his 30s.
I thought that he was like freaking like not even 21.
He was a child in Order 66. And from Order 66 to A New Hope, there was 19 years. So if he was
Fair enough.
So if he was a youngling, let's say he was 13. So, it'd be...
So we're about the same age. So we're saying about like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I mean, the
Sounds
character...
about right.
Yeah.
So, but it still makes sense because we know Ahsoka's much older.
Ahsoka essentially is the same age as Anakin. She's 5 years younger than Anakin.
Right, so she's significantly older, but
she's probably Rosario Dawson's age.
And she's a Twi'lek, but I know she's like a different kind.
She's not a Twi'lek. She's a different race.
I forget.
Yeah, but she's definitely not a Twi'lek.
Yeah, but they've got the lichen, just the same.
Yeah, the what do they call them? The head tails.
Yeah, the head tails. So, there was one thing that we forgot to mention last week that I actually wanted to bring up. Was the coolest thing that I thought was when Baylan.
She's a Togruta.
Thank you. Was when Baylan Skull used the Force to do the hacking of the computer. What normally you need a droid to do, like an astromech. He used the Force to unlock that. I forgot to
in the last episode.
In the first, that was in episode 1.
Okay, we're talking about episode 3.
I know, but I was saying that I started it off fine. I explained that we didn't mention this last week.
Sure.
But it was something that I feel really needs to be mentioned because that's the first time we've ever seen someone
use the Force to do that.
We've seen Jedi around them all the time, and they always need an astromech. Like, that dude is so smart.
Yeah, there has to be a level of intelligence, right? Like, you got to be Stephen Hawking with calculating skills because he might be using the Force.
He's as smart as an astromech.
Yeah, he might be using the Force to do it, but he still has to be doing the math to get it right.
But anyway, sorry. Back to episode 3. I just had to mention that because I was like, oh, I forgot to mention that.
Sure.
Because I thought that was so cool.
That was very cool.
But no, and he's so badass, and like my man commands such a great presence. But yeah, so he's like the Jedi are hiding. So they get there. They're fighting. These other guys. They were able to take out 3 of them. then Ahsoka goes outside, and I thought that was such a cool little sequence.
All right, so what he's talking about here is in the episode, at one point, then they're going out on their adventures. They get attacked while in a spaceship by 4 other, the villains, essentially. And at this point, when they're fighting the villains, is what he's talking about.
Right, in like a dogfight in the starship battle.
Exactly.
Dude, and I loved how they sequenced it, and like I said, they had to work together. She had to take that cue from Hu Yang to finally be like, what do you need? And like working together, like dip the ship so I can get a good aim at, under them.
Yeah, it was the team communicating properly to like execute the maneuver.
So we finally see these two learning to work together.
Sure.
And
but this Ahsoka does this one really cool thing.
So they were able to take out 3 with the gunning, and then so they get taken out. So they're trying to get closer. So we're skipping over. Sorry. Hu Yang is trying to download the information on what he perceives to be an enormous, what do you call it? Hypers ring.
Sure,
whatever.
yeah, it's basically a device
like
that
a hyperdrive.
You hook a spaceship up to, so it can make that spaceship that doesn't have a hyperdrive be able to go as faster than speed light. It's basically like attaching an extra engine.
Right. So, but it's enormous, and it's something that he's like getting them closer and closer so he can download this. So this whole time they're getting shot at by now this thing who's shooting at them. This giant ring has these crazy, she said like turbo lasers.
Sure, yeah.
And so they start using these, so they're getting smoked. They're down to like 10% of the forward reflectors.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
And finally, Hu Yang gets it, and then they're just dead in space.
Ugh.
And Hu Yang's out. He's overloaded from the download.
So we're lost. We're down a droid.
So Sabine's working. Ahsoka says, "Fix the ship. I'll distract him." So she dons the spacesuit that she wore in Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, totally great Clone Wars callback.
Yeah, gets outside and does the cool thing, kind of like, and was able to, with her lightsabers, help reflect some of the blaster bolts, and then she was able to take out the one other unnamed character, because of course the other 2 are Marok and Shin Hati.
Yeah. So basically, the Sith and the Apprentice.
Right. It's like, yeah. So it's the Inquisitor, right? Whoever this guy is.
Yeah, the masked Inquisitor-looking fellow.
Which we could probably get into after we're done describing the episode. Yeah, Marok is a very mysterious character. There are rumors abound about who he is.
Which is the point.
Or who she is.
Right, that's true.
I've heard guesses that it could be a female character that we've known before, so who knows. But anyway, so they're dead in space.
Oh, do you think it's Asajj Ventress?
I've heard that.
That would be awesome.
I have heard that.
Okay.
It would match the time.
Asajj Ventress is she was a Sith apprentice to Dooku, and she fell out of favor and kind of became this weird outskirts character. They did complete her arc in a novel where she fell in love with a undercover Jedi, and then they both died in the end of that book. But since then, apparently, all these books that were promised to be canon are no longer effing canon. So, screw me.
And then there was the love entanglement with that one Jedi, but
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. I loved that book. You sent me that book.
That was a great book. But anyways, if they ignore that, which they could, because once again, books apparently are no longer canon.
Yeah.
That could be Asajj Ventress.
It could be.
Ooh.
But of course, I'll go ahead, since we've got one. Everybody's guessing Starkiller because you see that actor's voice in the credits.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, so Starkiller apparently was Darth Vader's Sith apprentice. Now, this was in it was in a game called The Force Unleashed. Now, The Force Unleashed, while it was a great game, supposedly isn't canon anymore. Disney has not recognized it as an official part of the timeline. So, if this is that character, this will be the first time that story would be considered canon, which is a big deal to the fans.
It is.
A lot of people really like that character.
So that's what, because what's his name? I forget his name. But he, that's what I've seen is that.
I know Starkiller, right?
Right, but I mean the actor's name has been listed as in the credits, so that means
cool.
That means he voiced something.
Yeah. So, but for all we know, it could just be like a little tip of the hat, like, "Hey, you in Star Wars, kid? You want to be a random stormtrooper? Here you go."
Well, and I've seen a lot of interviews because I watch TikTok and everybody's doing they're taking old interviews where they're seeing Dave Filoni and I think Sam Whitmer. Is that his
Yeah,
name?
he's the guy who does the voice of Maul.
Yeah, and he also was the
Starkiller,
body
yeah.
for and voice for Starkiller.
Which is why I don't necessarily think it's Starkiller, because he played Maul.
Right, but he also played Starkiller.
But he could just have a flashback with Maul in it.
That's true. That's true. And but no, like they said, like the joke was that, but yeah, but no, Dave Filoni had always said that he would love to bring Starkiller into live
Into
action,
canon, yeah.
and then of course interviews with Sam Whitmore, he's like, well, I can't really say much, but yeah, we really would like to work him in.
Well,
So
so maybe they did. I mean, that is a solid fan theory.
it really is. So anyway, so now they're dead in the air. They're out of the scopes now of this giant hyperspace ring.
Right,
And
right.
now, so, and you could tell that there's a lot of friction between Morgana and Hati because she's like, I'm surprised you let them get this far. I'll handle them, is what she says to Hati. And then she shoots him. And then Hati rings in after that. Congratulations. You almost got them. We'll handle this.
Oh,
So
snap.
you always see this conflict between these two, and you always see Hati kind of looking to her master anytime that Morgana gives her any kind of order, as if for permission. Like, am I supposed to listen to this bitch?
Yeah, right.
Like, you see that? Like, yeah, and he'll be like, do what she says. And, so
So maybe there's a little bit of a battle of who's the teacher's pet here.
I
Maybe.
have a feeling when it comes to a big conflict, we're going to see him take Morgana out because I believe they have conflicting interests. They're just kind of enemy of my enemy right now,
Sure.
is kind of where I think
It's
they're
like we're
at.
trying to get Thrawn, but once we get the Grand Admiral, we are going to have it out.
Because he wants power more than he can imagine,
Sure.
is what he told her. And because he doesn't care. He's like, for some war, for some a new life, but for us, power.
Power.
So that's all he wants, and he's so badass. So anyway, so they come at them, and this is where my memory gets a little hazy. So can you fill me in here once? So this is all right. So the two, from what I remember, somehow they get to the planet's surface. They get to Cetos. They get onto the planet Cetos, and now Balin is aware, and he literally says it to Morgana that he's like, the Jedi are in hiding on the planet. So he says that to them.
Yeah.
And forgive me, fans of Earthling Entertainment, but honestly, this is where my memory kind of falls a little hazy. And that's kind of what, like, I only got to watch it at work last night. Sorry.
Yeah, to be perfectly frank, the episode came out last evening, and we're recording it this morning, so we do watch the episode. We even watched it a couple times, and you have to understand, we're both just dead. Like he said, he watched it at work, so...
And,
actually, I take that back. He didn't watch it at work, and don't worry about where he works, and he doesn't do anything but work at work.
Well, you know me. I always get the job done. I have my ways. But especially when it comes to this episode, because like I said, you know what, in a weird way, I'm kind of glad that we can't say the exact ending. But I will say that overall, the episode felt like a really fun ride. It was different. A lot of old school Star Wars, like for all the fans of people with the Millennium Falcon and the X-Wing fights from the old times. We got that back.
I just like to see good versus evil in lightsaber battles, and I feel like I haven't gotten that in a lot of Star Wars and lately. And this to me feels more like, I'm not talking about the quality of the show, because I loved Andor, I love some of these other ones.
Yeah.
But this feels more Star Wars to me personally,
Yes.
than even the Mandalorian.
No, this was a really fun ride. No, the Mandalorian was a western. Was a space western.
Is a space western?
Like
yes,
100%. Like more I watch it, I'm like, it's literally just a western.
It's Shane.
Yeah.
Shane comes into town and choo.
Well, the third season that kind of went away a little bit. But anyways, that's for a different episode. But but no, this episode of Ahsoka, episode 3, it was a fun ride, like I said.
Certainly was.
And we got, it felt more old school. They know what they're doing. Dave Filoni loves George Lucas's work, and he really wants to preserve his legacy. And once again, I think he nailed it.
Oh yeah, Dave Filoni is such a good guy when it comes to Star Wars lore, because he understands all these little nuances that most people don't even get. You know, the reason why in, for instance, Attack of the Clones, there is this at the very end when they're all Jedis are fighting. There is 3 creatures that are attacking, and one of them kind of looks like a mantis, and the mantis is stabbing and missing Obi-Wan. And I remember an interview of Dave Filoni where he said, well, that's because that creature came from a planet that was a lot darker. And this is so bright that it was unable to see, which is the reason why he was able to simply dodge. Like, that's the point. That is the world building in Star Wars that people don't even realize, is all of these creatures are anatomically there. Everything's there for a reason. Or, there's always a reason why even these things that seem stupid to you, if you break down actually things in the lore, 99% of the time, it actually makes sense and there's a logical reason. Granted, Disney has dropped the ball with that more than old Lucasfilm ever did, but still. Sorry, I got a little too deep.
No, you're fine. And it's good. In a weird way, I guess it's a good thing that they bombed so hard because they see that they have to give the control to people who deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I guarantee that it'll take a while, but in hindsight, even the Rise of Skywalker will work. They'll fit it into canon. That famous line of, somehow the Emperor has returned.
It was the worst.
It was the worst. But we will know what that somehow is. It'll be in a show.
Fly now.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we'll see the cloning process. In the last season of Mandalorian, we had that whole episode with the guy who was the cloner. I think he will ultimately be the one who actually clones Palpatine. I think they are trying to retroactively fix the shortcomings of the sequel trilogy.
While not, and they're doing that while not sacrificing, a good ass series, when it comes to like I said, when the people who do a good job are at the reins, we start actually seeing stories that make sense, are entertaining, they're exciting. Like you said, in this series alone, we've seen more lightsaber battles. Now with this episode, we see the dog fights, which I love. I love that aspect of Star Wars.
And that's pure Lucas. Lucas loved dog fights. He even did like a movie called Red Tails, which was the Tuskegee Airmen. Excuse me, I know I mispronounced that. But yeah, I mean, the dog fights is pure Star Wars.
Yeah, and I love it. Yeah, you get the cockpit, and then we got the gunner. We got like how much old school stuff did we get with this? You know what I mean?
It felt like Star Wars.
Yes, and everything works great. And honestly, I have to hand it to Hera. She had a lot more cojones in this episode. She felt a lot more like Hera to me. She was really I love that line where she was like, "Oh, so you just sat back and waited for whoever came out on top."
Oh yeah, so during this scene where she's talking to the leaders of the New Republic,
and one guy's a dick.
Yeah, she's trying to justify wanting, I believe it is manpower men, something like that, and they're just like, "Oh, well, we don't really believe that there is we don't believe that the Empire is organizing behind our back. We think it's just a couple little cells of Empire enthusiasts," which is funny because that's what the Empire thought about the rebels. It's the same thing. They're just pockets.
That was good. The farmers with pitchforks, but no,
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. But there's one big thing in this episode that we didn't talk about. Hera has a fucking kid.
Yes.
Who the hell is Jason?
From what I've heard, literally, it's just from fan groups and stuff that I follow. There were people who were just like ho hum about it. They were just like, yeah, totally has a kid. Her and Kanan had a kid.
Oh yeah, her and Kanan had a kid. All right, so those of you who don't know, Kanan is a Jedi played by Freddie Prinze Jr. But he was a Jedi in Rebels, the show Rebels, and he was a great character. Spoiler, sorry, the show is over. The character dies. The point is, before he died, apparently he knocked up Hera, and there's no reason to think it couldn't happen because after he died was pretty much the close of the series. Yes. It was like only a few episodes left. So she wouldn't be physically showing, and we hadn't actually seen Hera in live action or animation up until this point. So it is entirely possible that she got pregnant.
And it was implied the whole time that they were together.
Oh, well, I don't think it was implied. I mean, they basically said it. Yeah. Even
but I just mean leading up to finally when they were because they didn't even kiss until right before he died. On screen, as far as we saw.
I remember it being a very obvious romance, but I don't remember the details of when they kissed.
The actual kiss was once, and it was right before he died. But obviously, like I said, on screen, it's a kid's show. We're not going to see behind closed doors.
Yeah. But the funny thing is the fans just saying, "Oh yeah, Jason's Kanan's kid." There's nothing. No one said that. That is just fans just being super sure of themselves. Now, granted, it is the most logical reason, but I ask you this. This was brought up to me earlier by Ryan right here. Why isn't it half Twi'lek? It's full human. That
Yeah.
kid is a full human kid.
Well, his hair was green.
But he doesn't look
I
like
know,
any
but that
Twi'lek
was
at
it.
all.
He was just a normal human kid with green hair.
To me, he kind of looks like Ezra. So I think maybe, hear me out, somehow, baby Ezra. Clone of Ezra. I don't know. Didn't look like Kanan. Granted, Kanan was a cartoon, so I don't know what he would look like in live action.
I'm leaning towards it's Kanan's kid.
All right. Which would mean this kid is son of a Jedi, which means we possibly could have another Force-sensitive character.
And they foreshadowed it with him saying, "I want to be a Jedi."
Yeah, that's true.
Because he was with Chopper.
Yeah, you're right. Chopper!
I,
with a confirmed 50,000 kills.
And may I say, also, I watched a TikTok where they're like, you do realize that Chopper is literally speaking English. It's Dave Filoni. And like literally, so in the episode, in the last episode, if I may talk about it, when they're, chasing after, the ship that's taking that last hyperdrive that they needed, and they go to throw a tracker on it.
Yeah.
He's literally speaking English the whole time. When he literally is like, "Can we shoot it down?" Like when he's like, "Pop, pop, 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 down." It's, "Can you shoot it down?" And then she's like, "No, it would crash into the blah blah blah." "Is that bad?" And she's like, "Yes." And like literally, when he's like, "Have you gone through my stuff?"
So they modulized it or something, right?
That's all it is.
So it'd be like, can we shoot it down? And can we shoot it down? Can we shoot it down?
That's literally, it's Dave Filoni, and they just F with the voice, and so literally I had I saw a thing where they actually did the subtitles for it, and I was like, oh yeah, and you listen to it and you can totally hear it.
That makes sense, because there's been a few times when that character has done something and you swear to God you understood what he said.
Yes.
Yeah. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, and you hear that also with other weird characters, right? Like Return of the Jedi, after when C-3PO is saying a bunch of stuff to the Ewoks, one of the Ewoks turns to the other one and goes, "That guy's wise." Remember that?
No,
I do.
That's awesome. I totally believe that.
That guy's wise.
Listen, I take all my Ewok lore from Caravan of Courage. If it wasn't in Caravan of Courage, the Ewok movie, it didn't exist. That's right. Even Jedi. It's all about those Wicket films.
Dude, the Ewoks ate all those stormtroopers alive.
Well, of course
they
did.
They ate them all.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? They're bears.
Alive. They cooked their people alive. They were about to do it to Han and Luke.
I know, and they would have been delicious.
Dude, yeah, yup.
Hey, I'm just saying, I hear human is delicious. I only know one cannibal, but he assures me that people, mwah.
Houdini.
Houdini.
I honestly, I guess that's all.
I think so.
Yeah, I think we've had a long episode today.
We have. We're looking at about right now. It's at 11. So an hour and 11 minutes.
Not bad, dude.
Now an hour and 12 minutes.
Yes.
All right. So from all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys. Look for next week when we talk about mammoths.
Oh, yeah. What is it? Mammoth Talk.
Mammoth Talk.
We're going to actually get a little sound clip. It'll be Mammoth Talk.
Ooga booga. Mammoth Talk.
Yeah, I think that would feel.
Earthling Entertainment.
Earthling Entertainment. All right. See you next week.
See ya.
Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment with your hosts, Joe and Ryan.